सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Let us read the words that we did yesterday. Kamanyah kamayate manyamanaha sakamabhirjayate tatra tatra paryapta kamastu kritatmanastu yahaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. So second line says paryapta kamasya, one who has got all his wishes fulfilled. Kritatmanastu, one who has gained kritatmatvam. So krita atma vidyaya, one who has known the self. Kritatma, one is krita kritya. So one who has got all his desires fulfilled because of the self-knowledge. There is no way that the desires can be fulfilled by efforts. But as much as desire, as you know, is an expression of inner lack or want, and this lack or want itself is a product of ignorance by a false notion of myself. I feel a lack or want in me. In the wake of the true knowledge, that false notion drops out So, Pariya, I discover that I am free from all limitations, I am a whole and complete. Iheva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. In the wake of knowledge, all the desires vanish here itself. Here means while he is alive. Yadi evam sarvalabhat paramaha atmalabha. In this manner, if atmalabha, attainment of Atma, is greater than any other labha or attainment, if attaining self is greater than any other attainment, because attainment of the self results into fulfillment of all desires or freedom from all desires, meaning that one attains total freedom here itself. And therefore, the self-knowledge is presented as the means of the highest attainment. Then we must strive to gain that self-knowledge. So what are the means of gaining self-knowledge? The next mantra tells us in a negative way, but it tells us what is the means of gaining the self-knowledge. Nayam atma pravachanena labhya na medhaya na bahuna shratena yame vaisha vrunate tena labhya tasyesha atma vivrunate tanum swam. The translation, na ayam atma pravachanena labhya. Ayam atma, this self, na labhya is not attained, pravachanena, through pravachanam, through study. This atma is not attainable through study. Thank you. We are relieved, Na medhaya, not through intellect. Medha means intellect, so not through intellect, or meaning that by understanding, by logic, by reasoning, by remembrance, by retaining, all of that are understood by that medha also, Atma cannot be attained. The bahuna shrutena, not through bahuna, much listening, shravanam, but through much shravanam also Atma cannot be attained. So pravachanam, medha and bahuna shrutena can be explained bahuna shrutena by a lot of shruta or shravanam. So by a lot of shravanam you cannot attain the self. Medhaya, you can say by a lot of mananam also you can attain. So this shrutena, medhaya, pravachanena can be explained. Shrutena by a lot of shravanam, medhaya by a lot of mananam, pravachanena by a lot of nididhyasa. We can explain these words this way. The very well-known means of self-knowledge, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasa. What is shravanam? Listening to the unfoldment of the Atma from the teachers, based on the Shastra scriptures. What is mananam? Reflecting upon what it is that I have learned from the teacher and applying that understanding to all aspects of my life. And wherever doubts are there, all those doubts are cleared so that my knowledge becomes clear to me. Mananam. Nididhyasanam. Then overcoming what we call the habitual error. Even though I have the knowledge, what is important is that knowledge should become spontaneous. Anything becomes spontaneous, becomes my nature, then only it is available to me. You may have heard from parents, from teacher, you must speak truth, you must do this, you must do that. But then, as long as when the time comes that is not available, then that advice is of no use. It must become ourselves so that at any time that knowledge is available, meaning that this knowledge also should become habituous, spontaneous, abiding. So these are the means: Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, well-known means. And Upanishad says, not by Shravanam, not by Mananam, not by Nididhyasanam that can you attain this Atma. Then what? Kena tadhi labhya iti. What is the means? Who is the person who can attain, or what's the means for attaining the Atma? Second line says, Yameva eshaha vrunate tena labhya. So words are yam, eva, eshaha vrunate. Yam is a pronoun. So yam paramatmanam, that one. So yam means paramatmanam, eshaha vidwan vrunate. Eshaha the seeker. Yam means paramatmanam, param brahma. So param brahma whom the seeker chooses, vrunate. Chooses means what? Praptam icchati. Meaning that when the aspirant, Vidwan or aspirant, chooses Paramatma, chooses Param Brahma as the only goal of life, that's called choosing. You may remember the olden days of choosing one's own, partner. Very beautiful, princesses, they used to have a Swayamvara, where a number of princes would come from all over the country, maybe all over the world. And the princess would go out with her friend, with a garland in her hand. She will go to each one of them. The friend knows everything about this person, so that she will recite and tell what is all the glories and about this one. So, among all the princes that are assembled there, she chooses one that is the best in her opinion. I mean, you cannot choose more than one, but one. So also lots of choices are available in life. It may be earth, dharma, artha, kama, having lots of things which available to me. But I must choose one among all of them. When I choose one, I must necessarily give up the rest. Yam paramatmanam eva eshaha sadhaka vrunute. When the sadhaka, the seeker, the aspirant, vrunute chooses only Paramatma. What's the big deal, Swami? Yeah, everybody chooses Paramatma, everybody wants Paramatma, everybody wants God, everybody wants Brahman. As our Puja Swami used to say, he wants moksha as well as helicopter. We want Bhagavan, all right. But then my wife should be here, then my son, and my home, and my this. That also I want to retain. Meaning I want to retain other things that I love. In that case, that Paramatma is one of the entities that is important to me. If that is so, then he says, wait. So if I only choose Paramatma, meaning that nothing else remains important to me in life, that's called Vairagya. I've discovered the value of Brahman. Discover the value of the self, call it Brahman, self, Paramatma, whatever way you understand it. You discover the value that it is the most important and it is the only important thing. Even when other worldly things became important like wealth or fame or name, fame, power, understand that they're important to you not because of them, because of what they give you. Meaning that what I think they give me is happiness. So what I am seeking basically is a happy self. That's what each one of us is seeking. Atmastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It is for the sake of the self that anything else becomes dear. Which self? The pleased self. So each one of us is seeking the pleased self. That's all we want. If I recognize that that is what I am seeking, I have not recognized that in my life. Therefore, what happens is, when my desire is fulfilled, then a pleased self is generated. Except that my new home has fulfilled that desire, so I think that that has pleased me. The promotion, fulfills, gives me a pleased self. So I think promotion is it. I do not realize that all of those are means of manifestation of the pleased self. So through all of them, what I love in my life is the pleased self. This is one thing that one has to recognize. That anything is dear to me in life is because the pleased self is dear to me. That is what Upanishad says, Atmanastu kamaya. It is for the sake of the self, not just the self, pleased self. It is for the sake of pleased self that anything becomes dear to me. So today what I am doing is, I try to acquire this, that and so on to acquire the pleased self. When I realize that I don't have to go to all these, contorted route, why don't I directly seek the pleased self? When this is recognized, then the pleased self becomes most important to me. Nothing else remains important. Yame vaishya vrunate. This viveka or discrimination, meaning that discernment, that what one is seeking through all the desires, through all the endeavors, is only the pleased self, which is my own nature already. And therefore, the self alone is the most important, only important thing in my life. When you come to that nothing else remains important. That is called choosing the self. Because self is very jealous. I want self also, I want promotion also. Self also, I want a new home also. Self also, a new car also. He's very jealous. He says, no, you can't have two things in your life. You fulfill that first. Thus, I have been fulfilling my desires from one lifetime over the other, and still have not recognized that the desire behind all the desires is for the pleased self. That must not recognize. I recognize that. And that becomes not only the most important, the important. Yame vaishya vrunate. This is called viveka. When this viveka happens, when this discernment happens, when this insight into life happens, tena labhya, then the self, pleased self becomes, I use the adjective pleased self. Not just self, because self is sometimes very sad, sometimes, therefore I don't always love myself. What I love is the pleased self. When that is recognized, then everything else becomes secondary. Yame vaishya vrunate tena labhya. When I choose that as the only thing that I want in my life, then it is available to me. Meaning that by this choosing, by recognizing that it is the most important, and naturally I am devoted to whatever is most important to me. At any moment, I am devoted to whatever is most important to me. And therefore, this understanding that the self alone is the most important creates in me a devotion for the self, a commitment for the self. That's all I want, nothing else. In one song, Mirabai says, Mere to Giridhar Gopal, she says, All I want is Giridhara means one who has lifted the mountain. Gopal means Lord Krishna. That's all I want, nobody else. Yame Vaishamurute Tena Labhyaha. This very choosing, this devotion, this single-pointed commitment, this devotion which is called Varanam, choosing here, is bhakti, is what makes the object of devotion favorable to me. Self becomes favorable to me, meaning that it becomes conducive to reveal. That's why it says, Tasya Atma Virunate Tanum Swam. So this aspirant was chosen the self as the most important entity that he wants in his life. That nothing else remains important to him. And therefore all his efforts are now directed towards attaining the self, which in this case is knowing the self. So understand that self also is a live, conscious entity, and therefore we should imagine that that also appreciates my commitment to that. And therefore that also becomes favorable to me. It's not just one-way street, it is two-way street. But I have to take the initiative. With my viveka and vairagya, when self becomes the most important to me, then I am devoted to whatever it is that will enable me to attain the self. Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, Viveka, Vairagya, Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam. So whatever means I know, I am devoted to that means nothing else is important. Meaning that the person's mind has become free from raga and dvesha, because there are emotional problems. The raga, dvesha, or attachment and aversion are emotional problems. See, we should recognize this viveka, vairagya, they are at the intellectual level. So merely an intellectual understanding that Atma is most important does not solve those other problems. That is why, if you do not understand this difference, that vairagya has to come at the emotional level, it should not only remain at the intellectual level. So this Shama, Dhamma, Uparama are the evolution of our emotional being. Our emotional being becomes free from these impulses of raga dvesha. The raga dvesha are emotional impulses. So that's how there is an integration of both the intellect as well as emotion. So with that, when this aspirant chooses Ishvara and devotes himself or herself to the only means of Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, then Ishvara or Atma becomes favorable. Tasya Atma Virunute Tanum Swam. Only for that seeker who has made that choice, who is therefore totally devoted himself or herself to the knowledge or attainment of the Atma, who wants nothing else. You must have heard the example of a sadhu with matted locks. And I think it was maybe smoking in some spark, went in there, and he fell. And there was now, what does he want? He wants to plunge into a pool of water. He's running. For what? Pool of water. It was like, hey Maharaj, take some ice cream. Forget it. Hey, here is a candy. No. The only thing he wants is what? To plunge into water. That has become the most important thing. Where everything becomes of no importance at all. Various examples are given. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa famously said, when asked, Maharaj, how can I see Bhagavan? Says, wait for a day when both of them went to Ganga for a dip. When that fellow dipped, and Ramakrishna held his head in the water, he was suffocated. Hey, come on, release me. I'm suffocated. He was released. How did you feel? What do you mean, how did I feel? I want to get out of this. Exactly. So that is the kind of desire when you have. All you wanted was to get out of water, nothing else. So also you want nothing other than Ishvara. Yamaya vaisya vrunate tena labhyah. Meaning that we have to make our mumuksha, the desire for moksha, more and more intense. Desire for knowing Atma more and more intense. In that the other priorities will automatically drop off. Tasya Atma virunate tanum swam. To that, before that aspirant, Atma swam tanum virunate. Atma virunate reveals. Swam tanum, its own nature, its own swarupa. Atma reveals himself. So Atma is described here, but Atman is consciousness, is live entity, meaning that consciousness also can be made favorable. Whatever obstacles are there, they are removed, and Atma, call it Atma, Brahman, Ishvara, reveals himself. Tasmad anyatyagena atmalabha prarthanaeva atmalabha sadhanam. Therefore the choosing of the Atma, praying to the Atma, or praying to Atma, Ishvara, that all I want is you. Says Atmalabha sadhanam, that is the means of Atmalabha, attainment of Atma. This verse is interpreted more than one way because they are all pronouns here. If you see the second line of the verse, Yameva esha vrunute tena labhya tasyesha atma. Who is Yam, who is esha, who is tena? Meaning that Yam means that one, esha, this one, tena, why that? So this is explained differently by different acharyas. So the way Vedanta explains is that when this aspirant chooses the self, and what is meant by choosing the Tikakara has explained, that he is choosing the self as his own self, Aham Brahmasmi. So while listening also, his constant attention is Aham Brahma. What is being unfolded by the teacher is Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. So one of the students in our time, he had a sign on his desk. We used to carry a desk to the class and back home to a room. Swamiji is talking about myself. This was written. Because we think self is something, Brahma is something else. Swamiji is talking about myself. And so understand that there is nothing else, no other subject matter at all of Vedanta. So constant prayer to the self. Please reveal yourself to me. And constantly also practicing those values, practicing those practices which will enable me to attain the self, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Then Shravanam to become effective also will require Samadhi, Shatka, Sampati, Shama, Dhamma, Uparama. That may also require Vairagya, Viveka. So all these things are simultaneously done, understand. It is not that you already accomplished Viveka, Vairagya, then it's all going on simultaneously. Each one helps the other. More clearly we understand the self, more there is a value for the self, more there is Vairagya for other things, Then Samadhi Satka, very little improvement. This is a upward spiral. The knowledge helping the qualification, they helping the knowledge, they helping the qualification. This is how, this is called prarthana. Even when I am listening to the teacher, in my mind there is this, all I want is the knowledge of the self. This Shravanam is not for any other reason. Many years ago when I was in Sandipani, teaching there, one person came to me. So I want to join the course. For what? I want to go to Canada. For what? So that I can give lectures. So that is not the purpose of this. The purpose is for people to, gain the knowledge for their own benefit. So people have different agendas. The only agenda is, I want to know the self, I want to become the self. Know the self. And I want thus the self to reveal himself to me. And thus this constant prayer is going on, constant effort is going on. Tasyesha Atma Virunate Tanum Swam. Before that aspirant, this Atma reveals his true nature. Meaning that we have to make Atma favorable to us. What do you mean Atma? Most unfavorable is my own self. Lord Krishna says, Atma eva hyatmana bandhu, Atma viripuratmana. Atma alone becomes your bandhu or benefactor, and Atma alone can be your enemy. So to make the Atma bandhu, benefactor, our friend, make him favorable to us. That becomes when Antakarana Shuddhi takes place, Antakarana becomes favorable, Atma becomes favorable. So here therefore choosing the Atma or Bhakti of Atma is presented. So this is the verse which also occurs in Kathopanishad, is where we get a glimpse of Bhakti. In Upanishad it's very difficult to find Bhakti, Here also you can interpret this verse as Bhakti. But at least here there is a glimpse of a commitment to Atma. Here says, Atmalava Prarthana eva. So prayer for the attainment of the Atma. At least that much is there. I would say devotion to the Atma. And making that devotion makes Atma favorable. Devotion to anything makes favorable, Even a king can be made favorable, Dhanvan can be made favorable, Bhagavan can be made favorable by devotion. When you come to the conclusion of this Upanishad, in the last verses, Upanishad describes what we call the Videha Mukti. Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. What is Jivan Mukti? Jivan means while living. Jivan Mukti, liberation, Jivan while living. And then there is Videha Mukti. Videha means being unembodied, that is after, without the body also. They call it Videha Kaivalyam. This is what. And so there is Jivan Mukti. And the thing, what is meant by Videha Mukti, meaning that Mukti or liberation, when the body falls off, that when the death of the wise person happens, he is free or liberated while living. He remains liberated even after the body drops off, meaning that death does not change anything. Because the mukti or liberation nothing to do with the body. Body does not bind me even today. What binds me is my tadatma, identification of the body. That I am the body, that notion is what binds me, not body. So in the wake of the knowledge that I am Brahman, that notion I am body slowly disappears. It's a habitual error, it may take time, but I am the body, that's a habit that we have, that in course of time, vanishes, living there, this knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, that becomes an abiding knowledge. When this knowledge becomes abiding, then you are Brahman, you are liberated. You are liberated even in this body because the body did not cause bondage. Therefore, the body does not become an obstacle to liberation. Meaning that the wise person is living has nothing to do with his being free or bound. So he is living alive and still free. That is called Jivan Mukti. Then what happens after death? He remains free. That is called Videha Mukti. So here is the next verse which describes this very beautiful example of the mukti or the liberation that a wise person enjoys. Yatha nadyah sindamanaha samudre astam gacchanti nama rupe vihaya तथा विद्वान नाम रूपाद विमुक्तः परात्परम पुरुषम उपैति दिव्यम. See, translate yatha nadya as rivers, syandamanaha flowing down, astam gacchanti become indistinguishable. So imagine rivers flowing into the ocean. So they become indistinguishable. A river perhaps retains its little individuality for a while, then disperses in the ocean, and then you do not see any difference between the river and the ocean. So it's astam gacchanti. The river has there disappeared. Like the sun sets, so also river also has become disappeared. So that means river loses itself? When the river merges into ocean, the river loses itself. Because indistinguishable, after a while you cannot recognize this is Ganga, this is Yamuna, this is Narmada, no such distinctions remain when they are merged into ocean. Isn't that right? So would you care to be a river and merge into ocean? No? Look at this river. The only commitment or intention the river has is when will I meet ocean. Even as the water rains at the heights, of mountains, the peaks of the mountains, is flowing down. River is just one agenda. What's the agenda? To meet the ocean. In that, very often the river encounters many obstacles. If the river is powerful enough, it just overcomes that obstacle. If the obstacle is very big, it goes around the obstacle. It comes around mountain, it will go around. Small thing, it just overcome. This river encounters many obstacles which she overcomes because she is very persistent, very committed to only one goal, and that is to meet the ocean. She doesn't want anything else. You can call this commitment, call it bhakti, call it viveka, vairagya. Viveka means that river is very clear as to what she wants. I want to be one with the ocean. Vairagya means that nothing else is important. She won't take any other path. Yatha sindhamanaha nadyah, just as flowing rivers samudre astam gachanti, when they reach the samudra ocean, they astam gachanti, become indistinguishable from the ocean, meaning that they lose themselves, they disappear. So I ask, hey, would you like to be a river? So that you say, no, I don't want to be a river. I don't want to lose myself. Isn't it? Who wants to be a river? You go into the ocean and no more, your being is no more there. Your identity is no more there. Would you like that situation? For the whole of my life, I am fighting for my identity. I am so and so. I am a woman. I am a man. I am this. I am fighting for my rights whole of my life. Not only that, but as this society gives a great importance to the sense of individuality, and particularly in the West, as children are raised, they are made very aware of their individuality, their sense of I, and that is nourished and nurtured so that he has a commitment to become something. So that also is all right. That helps you to have self-respect, self-esteem, to be able to carry yourself in the society and do what is necessary to be able to have self-respect. But a time should come when ultimately you have to let go, that also. That identity is important for us to live in the society and function in the society. So that identity which helps us to accomplish things with all the obstacles from society, ultimately, that identity also has to go. See, Varnashrama Vyavastha of the Vedas, that first the Vedas give you an identity. You are a brahmachari. Otherwise it was walking or running around and with nothing. No, so now you're brahmachari. Identity means what? Now your responsibility. Do this japa, do that, etc. Next identity, you are a grihastha. Which means what now? He is no more free, he is confined to one person, and then all duties and responsibilities. When doing that is gain maturity and vanapastha. Give up all your bhoga or pleasures, enjoyments, and live the life of penance and prayers. The mature there, sannyasa. So, up to the grihastha, there is this identity. Vanapastha is giving up some identity. Sannyasa means giving up all identity. A sannyasa is no identity. Although these days I announce Swami Viditatmananda, so and so, and then this qualification, this education, and this degrees, and anyway. But basically a sannyasi has no identity. This identity is in fact binding you. The identity was necessary for you to negotiate yourself in the life up to a certain point. But when that has happened, it's like that world pole. It helps you to rise up to a certain point, then you drop it. So identity also helps you rise up to a certain point, then drop it. It's called sannyasa. Therefore, sannyasi is no identity. Although these days sannyasis announce their identity, that's a different thing. The spirit of sannyasa is that, in fact, it's gone. You know that sannyasa, in that ceremony, you perform your own shraddha. So you are gone. When the teacher gives you a different name, the old fellow is gone. Here, of course, Swami Viditatmananda, I was this, his name, earlier name, and this kind of stuff. But as I say, he is a new person now. And his identity is gone completely. Identity which becomes an obstacle to you, which is a means at some point, like that pole, becomes an obstacle beyond a certain, so you drop it. And therefore, ultimately, the yatra journey is of giving up the identity and finally becoming totally free from identity at all. It is identity which creates in me a sense of limitation because it arises from identifying myself with this upadhi, body-mind complex. As I said, that is necessary in order for you to negotiate in the society. But when now spiritual commitment comes, then the commitment is to slowly let go the identity. Yatha nadya sindhamanaha samudre astam gacchanti. Yatha, just as sindhamanaha nadya, the flowing rivers, samudre astam gacchanti, they disappear. Or he says they become indistinguishable when they reach the ocean. Nama rupe vihaya, having given up names and forms. So giving up names and forms becomes the sadhana. What is meant by, in case of river, it just happens. But it's a beautiful example. Imagine that river has given up the names and forms, then only it can merge into ocean. If it retains the name and form, it retains its individual even after going to ocean. Sometimes that Yamuna, you still see the distinction of Ganga, Yamuna, even when they merge into ocean. After a while, they disperse, become indistinguishable. Now there is a freedom in that indistinguishability and not a loss. One may feel that, look, the river has lost its identity, poor thing. When the river merges in the ocean, does it not lose its identity? So it's lost the identity. I am river, I am Ganga, I am Yamuna, I am such and such. That identity is lost. Has the river gained in return? Has the giver, a river, gained anything in return? Having given the identity now, has she gained something in return? What is she called now? Samudra ityavam prochade. Prashnopanishad clarifies this a little more. What was called a river? Samudra. It is called ocean. Therefore, river has given up the limited identity of being such and such river. In giving up that limited name and form or identity, it has become vast, it has become limitless. So what is the difference between the river and ocean? What is the essential truth of the river? What is that we call river? Flowing water. What is it that we call ocean? Vast river, vast water. So the essence of river is water. Essence of ocean also is water. Except that one water had an identity or identification between those two banks, limited by those two banks, and always retained its individuality. I am such and such river. In merging the ocean, nothing is lost except the sense of individuality. Because its essence, its swarupa, is water, can never be lost. If river has a great pride that I am such and such, that pride will be gone completely. But the river has become enlightened that I am water, then that identity which is coming in the way of that freedom, because that binds that river only to the banks. Even at any time, if river recognizes I am water, it is free. Doesn't have to meet ocean also. Here we say that the river merges into ocean. Now river has become the ocean, meaning now river discovers that I am ocean, I am water. The Vishesha distinction of name and form has been given up. And now there is a loss of individuality, but there is a gain of totality. Nam Rupe Vihaya, giving up the identity or identification with name and form. Samudra astam gacchante, they become indistinguishable, and so they enjoy this state of being indistinguishable from that individuality, but now having become the totality. So that's an example. Same example comes in the Prashnopanishad, where one more information is given. Samudra ityavam pruchyate. What was formerly called the river now comes to be called Samudra, ocean. Yatha and Tatha. Yatha, the first word in first line. Tatha, the first word in the second line. Tatha, similarly. Vidwan, Nama Rupa Vimukta. So also Vidwan, the wise person, Nama Rupa Vimukta, having become free from the name and form. So how do you become free from name and form? Swami, I will leave this body. Is it by physically living the body that I become free from name and form? Unfortunately not. At the time of death, even when we depart from this body, we do not become free from name and form. We become free from identification. This body, but then we merely identify with another body. And therefore, as long as the tendency to identification, you don't become free. Tatha vidvan, nama rupat vimuktaha. So vidvan, the wise person, may become free from name and form. Meaning, he no more now judges himself by the name and form. We all the time judge ourselves by name and form. I am Swami so and so, the name and form. And that is my identity. I do not realize that that is what in fact divides me from everything else, creates a division, creates a separation, creates a sense of limitedness or lack or want, a sense of confinement. That identity creates in me a sense of confinement. And that identity is simply notional because Atma, the consciousness, is not confined to this body. What is not confined to the river, what is not confined to a body of water, it is, water is, has no form, no name, it is limitless in nature. And so also the consciousness has no name, no form, not confinement. The identification of this bank, Bianca bank, not that bank, river bank. That is upadhi. That's what creates in me this notion that I am so and so. Tatha vidwan, nama rupat, vimuktaha. Having discovered his true nature, he no more now judges himself by naming, not that name him from go away. The body remains and does its job. It's not having a body is not an obstacle. It is identifying with the body, judging myself by the body is what is an obstacle. Nama rupat vimuktaha. So the wise person, having become free from the identification, name and form, parat param purusham upayati divyam, he attains the purusha. Divyam purusham, self-effulgent purusha. Self means self-effulgent Paramatma, self-effulgent Brahman. Parat param, higher than the higher than Maya, meaning the adhisthana of the Maya also. Sarvadhisthana. So his true nature, which is Brahman, which is adhisthana, the substratum of everything, that is what he becomes, that's what he has been. And the only thing that created in him a sense of confinement was this identification. When that is gone in the wake of the knowledge, he always was, now he owns up. The river owns up its true nature when it merged into ocean. That I always was ocean. So a wise person also, I am Brahman, I am limitless. So this is an example of what they call Videha Mukti. The wise person remains liberated. The river remains liberated even after losing its name and form. So losing the name and form is like death. When I depart from this body, I am no more identified. I don't have a name and form, but then I gain identity with Brahman. And the concluding next verse. Sayo havai tat paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati na asya abrahma vitkule bhavati tarati shokam tarati papmanam vahagrantibhyah vimuktah amruto bhavati. Sayohavai tat paramam brahma veda. Sayohavai, anyone who Veda knows, tat paramam brahma, that supreme Brahman. Very famous statement, Sayohavai tat paramam brahma veda brahmayo bhavati. One who knows the supreme Brahman becomes Brahman. One who knows that Brahman becomes Brahman. By knowing, how do we become something? Here, knowledge of Brahman makes you become Brahman. You remember any other example while knowing is becoming? Yeah, the 10th man story. He has listened to it 1500 times, so he knows that's good. But the 10th man story, this person is searching for the 10th man. Who is he searching for? His own self. Is it not so? He is searching himself. How can that strange thing happen? What are you searching for? I'm searching for 10th man. What happened? He's lost. Naturally, they cannot find him. Then somebody comes along and says, "Oh, children, what's the problem with you? Why you are so sad?" So we lost one of us. How do you say? We were 10 when we left, now we are 9 now. The interesting thing, Swamiji, is that you ask him, what is the description of the one you have lost? There is no description. They don't know who is lost, but they just know one is lost. We were 10 when we left, we are 9 now, one is lost. How did you determine you are 9? We counted. How did you count? Let me show you. He asked his friends, "Come on, line up in front of me." He counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, there are 9 only. So that person says, "Don't worry, my children. I have seen the 10th man. Seen the 10th boy." "Oh, you've seen him?" "Yes." So they thought he may have seen him someplace there. Where is he? Where is he? I'll show you. Count again, carefully. So when this old man said, now the children are relieved that at least this fellow is not lost. And this old man inspired confidence in them that he seems to know where the 10th man is. Therefore now all Shraddha has appeared. Now they have Shraddha and Bhakti, trust in him. And so they will do exactly what is. Come on, count again, carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Where is the 10th boy? You are the 10th boy. Then tube light happens in his mind. That's called tube light in India. Tube light. In the olden days, the fluorescent lights used to take some time. You switch on, it takes some time. Similarly, it takes some time here. And then, oh wow, I see this. I'm the 10th man. So similarly, this is how searching oneself for oneself. When recognize that what I am searching for is my own self, the 10th man, when he knows the 10th man, becomes the 10th man, right? 10th man, when he knows the 10th man, becomes the 10th man. Is that right or not? Does he become 10th man? Becoming is, if he is not 10th man, then he can become 10th man. And still it says, the 10th man becomes the 10th man. From his own standpoint, he who thought that 10th man is lost, and I am the 10th man, therefore, that knowledge enables him to see as though becoming the 10th man. So we also become Brahman. We are all searching for Brahman in our life. No, Swami, I am not searching. I just want a job. I just want a promotion. I just want to get married. I want to have children. But that's all search for Brahman, understand? So job, what do you want a job? Swami, I'll be happy. I'll be respected. Then I will have freedom, etc., etc. Meaning that you want a job for freedom, for happiness, for self-contentment. That is Brahman. You want to get married for that. So ultimately you'll find that the desire behind all the desires is only self-satisfaction, self-contentment, happiness with my own self. And that is Brahman. So the whole life I'm searching for that only, not recognizing what I'm searching for. Then he recognizes. Sayo vai tat paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati. One who knows Param Brahma. The only way to know Param Brahma is to know Brahman as the self. If I know Brahman as myself, you know what will happen? If I know Brahman as I know a pot, Svedeti, now I know that I have known Brahman very well, clearly known Brahman. If Brahman is known as an object of knowledge, how would that Brahman be? It will be limited, because anything that becomes the object of my knowledge will be limited by the means of knowledge. What I can see with eyes is what the eyes are limited, what they can reveal is also limited. Meaning that anything that is known as an object of knowledge will always be limited in time, in place, in attributes. And Brahman is free from the limitation of time, place and attribute, then Brahman cannot be other than me. And therefore Brahman is to be known as myself. Isha darshanam svatma rupatah, as Ramana Maharshi would say, Isha darshanam. What is Isha darshanam? Knowing Ishvara, svatma rupatah, knowing Ishvara as one's own self. I don't have to quote Ramana Maharshi, it's not Upanishad is here. But still, Sayo vai tat paramam brahma veda brahmaya bhavati. This is Mahavakya. Brahma veda brahmaya bhavati. Knowing Brahman, one becomes Brahman. Because one has been Brahman. Thinking that I am not Brahman, so knowing he becomes Brahman means what? The notion that I am not Brahman drops off. And whatever that notion was hiding or veiling, that notion goes away. And therefore, when Brahma goes away, the true knowledge is there, in light of which then Nasya Brahma. This is another. The Brahma Vidya is praised here. stuti. What is the stuti? Na asya abrahmavid kule bhavati. Asya kule abrahmavid na bhavati. Asya kule, in his line. Na bhavati is not born. Abrahmavid, anyone who does not know Brahman. If Brahmajnani's son will be a Brahmajnani, or a Brahmajnani's disciple will, this is the idea. Kula means lineage, it's twofold, from father to son or guru to shishya. So Bindu Parampara, Nada Parampara, that's how they say. But anyway, so his son or his disciple will never remain ignorant of Brahman. That is how the Brahma Vidya is praised here. And if you are a disciple of a Brahmavid, then this one says that you will not remain ignorant of Brahman, so I will become knowledge, Brahmavid. Swami's life is gone, next one. But someday you will definitely become Brahmavid if you are the disciples of a Brahmajnani. That is the assurance that the Upanishad gives us. Tarati shokam, tarati papmanam. About the wise person, tarati shokam overcomes grief. Tarati papmanam, and he becomes free from all papa or sin. Shokam, manasam, santapam. The mental agony is called shoka or grief. So grief is the agony taking place at mind. Ishta vaikalya nimittam. When you lose something that is desirable, then there is grief. So ishta viyoga, when there is viyoga or separation from something that is desirable, then the suffering that arises is called shoka. So one becomes free from grief. Swami, does it mean that now for the wise person nothing gets lost? When we lose something that is dear to us, where is my cell phone? These days I think the dearest thing is a cell phone, is it not so? If you don't find it, you are sad. Swami, so much data was there, so much this was there, so much that was there, So many apps were there. It had become my second nature, my life. Ishtaviyoga. How we feel, how the grief arises when there is the separation from what I love, what I like. Of course, by association with what I dislike, there also shoka can come. Anishta sanyoga, ishtaviyoga, but here Bhashyakara mentions ishtaviyoga. What is shoka? Shoka is a grief that arises as a result of losing or being separated from something which is dear to me. Manasam sampanasam. So now the wise person never feels this grief of losing something dear. Why? You mean doesn't lose anything? They also lose. What happened to my chhatri, my umbrella? He has a few things only. He may have danda, there also somebody took away. Because when the sadhus are sleeping wherever they are, and sometimes his danda goes away, kamandalu goes away. Where is my kamandalu? Where is my danda? So grief arising from losing the separation with something that was dear. But a wise person does not grieve. Is it because nothing is dear to him? Or because there is no separation from anything? He has discovered himself as the self of all. And therefore nothing is different from him, nothing is separate from him. That is what is meant by saying that he doesn't have the manasa santapa, the mental agony arising from losing or being separated from something that was dear. Or you can say simply that he has become free from all attachments. So it doesn't matter whether something is with me or with somebody else. Okay, good, you enjoy. So that's how a wise person has become very, very large-hearted. And so if this Kamandala is with me and I'm happy, with somebody else, God bless him, let him be happy. And therefore his compassion, his large-heartedness, accommodates everything. Doesn't feel the pain of loss. Because his pleasure did not come from possession. Therefore pain does not come from loss. How come his pleasure did not come from possession? It comes from himself. And therefore it's not that this is there, therefore I'm happy by myself. So if something goes away, it is like, in a bank, the management transfers money from one branch to the other. So this cashier has to part with a lot of money, so it goes to another branch. Oh, Bhagavan, my money has gone away. Does the cashier of the bank feel, see, I lost millions of dollars, now I've gone away to other fellow? No. I was just a manager. It was not mine even when it was here. And similarly also, this one doesn't feel that this is mine. It is here because Ishvara wants it. Gone because Ishvara wants it. Tarati shokam, tarati papmanam. Papa means sin. Aberrations or sin. What is sin? Sin is an action performed in violation to the basic law. That is the moral law. It is a moral law that governs the entire universe. There are these mechanical laws which the scientists tell us as to how they govern the physical phenomena. But there is also a moral law, subtle law called moral law, that even governs all that physical phenomena also, and that includes ourselves, our mind and emotions also. In science, your mind is not included. When they give you laws, it's only physical entities that are in fact explained. This is moral law, explains even your mind, emotions and everything. And therefore, tarati papmanam, he crosses the papa, crosses the sin. What do you mean? That means it doesn't matter, regardless of what he does, he doesn't get the papa. The wise person can do what he wants to do and still no dharma, no adharma. No punya, no papa. He's become free from punya papa. Does it give him a license to do what he wants? License to behave the way he wants, to violate the laws? Then here the Upanishad seems to give him a license. Tarati papmanam, he crosses a sin, meaning that his behavior, his action will not be termed as sin. He continues to act like you and I. And when we do something, it's called punya or papa. If what I do is in keeping with the moral law, it's called punya. If violates the moral law, it's called papa. So wise person also can violate, will he not? Cannot a wise person do something wrong, something immoral?
Because they know it is adharma, so they will not perform such.
They
They will not perform such bad or something.
not worship. Good. They won't do it. Himself. Yeah, all of that is right. Basically, he knows himself as Brahman, which is the basic order of the whole universe. He is the order. And therefore, spontaneously, he is always in harmony with the order, because he is the order. If order is different from me, then I have to make an effort in order to be in harmony with the order. So today I must have, is it right or not? I must think before doing. But when I am the order, then what is done is always in keeping with the order. And so Brahman is the order. That being the case, whatever he does always is in order. His actions are not governed by the individual ego, his actions are governed by the totality of the order. This is called totally surrender to Ishvara. Tarati shokam, tarati papmanam, guha grantibhya vimuktaha. Become free from granthi of the knots of knots of the heart. What's the knot? Ahankara, mamakara is the knot, meaning the, as Bada Swami said, the unholy wedlock. Unholy wedlock. See, when they announce the wedding, it is a holy wedlock between these two individuals. But this wedlock between Purusha and Prakriti, it also is wedlock. Unholy wedlock. Because Purusha identified with Prakriti becomes limited, and that is where all Ahankara, Mamakara, all these knots come. All knots are given up. That identity with Prakriti is given up. That was why due to ignorance anyway. Gruha grantibhya vimukto bhavati. Becomes free from all the knots which were the product of ignorance. All our complexes are knots. I am so and so is a complex, is a knot, K-N-O-T. I am a Brahmana, is a knot. Because Brahmana belongs to body and I am belongs to Atma, and so I am joined them. I am great, another knot. I am little, another knot. Insignificant, another knot. Significant, yet another knot. So constantly we can keep on joining something with the other with the I am. That's called the knot, Purusha Prakriti. I am is Purusha, and Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vidya is all Prakriti. Habitually we join them and identify ourselves and judge ourselves, become free from that. In the wake of the Atmanatma Viveka. Kruha grantibhya vimuktaha amrito bhavati, becomes immortal. Who was immortal now recognizes himself as immortal. So this is the culmination of the self-knowledge or knowledge of self as Brahman. Sayo havai tat paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati. One who knows the self, as one who knows Param Brahma becomes Param Brahma, because all there is Param Brahma, self is Param Brahma. He's not becoming. I was separating myself by the notion, because I become body, therefore as though I was separated from Brahma. That false separation goes away in the wake of the knowledge. I remain what I always was, of which I did not have the benefit. Now I have the benefit of what I am. And that benefit, amrito bhavati, becomes immortal. Atha martyo mruto bhavati, atra brahma samashnute. Elsewhere, atha martyaha amrito bhavati. The mortal becomes immortal. The immortal who thought he was mortal, no more thinks I am mortal, owns up his immortality. So this is how Mundakaopanishad concludes with all the positive message of hope and encouragement that, as I said, now that we have started on this journey, it is like stepping on an escalator. And it's a rising escalator. No, but Swamiji, I fell down, doesn't matter, you'll come out again. It can happen. That sometimes the path of rising, there can be obstacles. In the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna describes how an aspirant, after departing from this body, also gets a suitable embodiment where the same thing will continue in one way or the other. But then Bhashyakara writes, it is possible that because of some karma of the past, some obstacles can come. And you may feel that you are deviated from your path. But that is only temporary. When the force of that obstacle goes away, you are back again. And therefore, his disciples also will become immortal, if not today, tomorrow, because they are on this escalator. The Viveka is there now, what it is that we want. As the priorities become clearer and clearer, then what is not important will slowly drop off. Right now I'm holding on to a lot of things that are not important because I have not recognized their worthlessness. And so I'm holding on to many things. As my intellect becomes more and more mature, I recognize it, this is not worth holding on to, not worth holding on to. In recognition of their worthlessness, I keep dropping. I discover freedom. More I hold on to, more bound I am. More I let go, more free I become. You let go everything. Then become everything. And so this is how Upanishad concludes. That amrito bhavati becomes immortal. Nasya kule abbrahmavid bhavati. No abbrahmavid comes in his kula or in his lineage, today or tomorrow. And so that is the message of the Upanishad. And all of us can definitely draw a lot of comfort from this. That does not mean that I become, there is no scope for pessimism, no. Complacency. No scope for complacency. Oh, ho gaya, I mean, nothing, no. So sometimes you become complacent, that's an obstacle. No scope for complacency. You strive constantly, like the river, which is the ocean. Escalator, which is the top. So also, each aspirant has to reach today or tomorrow, one way or the other. With that prayer, we conclude this discussion. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshavirya Jatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha Swastinah Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastinastarkshyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Om Shanti 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 Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari